Microphone check. Yay.
Really? All right. All right, here we go. It's official now. Welcome to CSL Leesburg. Good morning. It's wonderful to see everybody here today. So, our theme for 2019 is spirituality in action, and our focus for this month is advocate. Oh, it's August. It's August. It's a new one. Celebrate and respect other nations and peoples. Isn't that a good one? And our value is gratitude, which is perfect. Right now, we're going to open up our sacred space and set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of these 5 pillars by creating our altar and lighting the candles. The first pillar is study, represented by the divine quality of light, the color yellow, and the work of Dr. Ernest Holmes. His book, Science of Mind, reminds us of the importance of keeping an open mind and realizing the power of our mind. The next pillar is prayer, represented by the divine quality power, the healing color green, and the symbol of Ganesha, the Hindu god of remover of obstacles. We light this candle to remind us of the power of prayer in our lives. The blue candle represents the pillar of meditation and the divine quality of peace. Our symbol is Buddha, the awakened one. We light this candle as an affirmation of the importance of quieting our mind. We might go back to Ganesha, the remover of obstacles. The fourth pillar is circulation, the divine quality of life, represented by the red candle. The symbol for us is Lakshmi, the Hindu goddess of prosperity, life, and fertility. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the white candle represents the fifth pillar, which represents service and the divine quality of love. The greatest symbol of love is the master teacher, Jesus. We light this candle as a call to be of service to our world, seeing through the eyes of love. Now let us close our eyes and bless this sacred space and bless this time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practice of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and hearts to the 5 divine qualities of light, power, peace, life, and love. We would also like to bless everyone who has made our service possible today, our wonderful tech crew in the back, Larry for hospitality, and everyone in attendance, and a special gratitude to Ark of Loudon for our beautiful space. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly, and so it is. And while we're in this space of blessings, it is our time to share any prayer requests, any concerns that you have, any joys, any celebrations, and I'm going to start because I have the mic. So yesterday, Thelma and Louise hit the road, and we returned yesterday from the CSL retreat, and we had just a wonderful time, and I am so filled up with positive energy and love, and I think that light is going to be burning bright for a long time. So I highly recommend it. If you haven't gone, join us next year because I have a feeling we'll be back. What else is on your mind? Yes. Okay. For that family. Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Karen. We're so glad you're here. Okay. Okay. Holding her in prayer and you. Okay. Anyone else? We'll have prayers for people who are traveling. It's August. People are taking vacations. So we'll hold them in prayer. We also have prayers going out to the folks in El Paso. And where's the other location? Dayton. I'm sorry? Oh, yes. Oh, my. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Breathe in peace. Breathe in love. Realize that we're all connected. We're all divine beings, part of this universe, creators of our lives, all one. God surrounds us. God fills us up. We are love. And we are loved. There is abundance in our lives. We are safe. We are surrounded by friends and family. We practice the law of circulation, knowing that all of our deeds return to us. So we try to keep spreading that positive energy, that loving message out into the world. We have celebrations that we lift up, knowing that so many people were blessed at the retreat. So many people will go out and spread that love, that message, that we are loved. We are divine. Think of how, like ripples on a pond, that message will spread. We also have a family that is experiencing transition for a loved one. We hold that family up in prayer, surrounding them with support, love, peace, and strength. For people who were involved in an accident this week, we know that all is well, all is being taken care of. Bodies are returning to perfect health. Cars will be repaired and returned to their state too. Take another deep breath in. Just breathe in love, the love that's in this room. Breathe out any worries, any concerns, any anxiety that you have. Just know that all is well. And have gratitude for that awareness, knowing that you are perfect, you're whole, you're complete, and you are loved. So we release our words into the law, knowing that all is good, and so it is. And now our musical guest. I'm just going to hand you a microphone.
Thank you. Good morning. So this is probably a tune that you're all familiar with and can sing with us. It's a Karen Drucker tune. Thank you for this day. Perfect. That's right. We're just going to start singing. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing,
Thank you, Patty, Brent. So beautiful to start our day out this way. So I awoke this morning to the news of a third mass shooting within the length of the week, when the second within a 24-hour period. Over 30 people have lost their lives, many still in serious condition. And we are in kind of a place of trauma, right? We've this last week, between the shootings and the reports of glaciers melting and what's happening at our border, collectively as a people, we are feeling trauma. We are traumatized. And so one of the things that we do here in our movement, in our community, is we practice. We practice ways to support us, to align us, to heal us. And so I just want us to take a moment to do a little practice that is good for our nervous systems. It calms our nervous systems down, because when we have trauma and we get bombarded by all this news and by social media, it creates this sense of fight or flight trauma in our nervous system. And so I just invite you, if you choose to, just to close your eyes for a moment and just do this little practice. It's something that you can do anytime you're feeling a sense of stress or feeling traumatized in some way. And so I just want you to take a deep breath, and we're going to do it together 3 times. Just breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then together again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And in through the nose again and out through the mouth. Just begin to breathe normally again, and just notice and feel, even just in that practice of breathing together, there might be a sense of calm within your system. Now I want you to just bring your awareness and your attention to your hands. Wherever they are, if they're resting in your lap, or you might notice the material of your clothes that are resting against your hands. Try to feel them from the inside out, the tingling. Just really focus on your hands for a moment. And now just bring your attention down to your feet. Once again, you might feel them in your shoes, against the floor. Feel into any tingling sensation within them, the heat or the cool. And once again, just focus all your energy into noticing and being mindful of your feet. And now I want you to bring your awareness to your base of your spine, the tailbone area. And again, you might notice how it's resting against your seat, your chair. And just notice that tailbone, base of your spine. And now if you choose, just place your hands over your heart. And as you breathe in again, just bring to mind a sense of safety and love. You might recall a time where you felt completely loved, completely safe. It might be in this present moment, but it might be another time that you can just call forward a sense of complete safety. And if you can't think of a time, you can always just imagine it. Bring your sense of imagination. What would it feel like if I, in this moment, felt completely safe and completely loved? And just allow that energy to move through your body again as you rest your hands in your lap. And with the greatest of awareness, just bring yourself back. You choose to, you can open your eyes. And just be aware of what might have shifted for you. This is a real practice of calming the nervous system in times of trauma. It's something you can take with you, and at any moment practice that moving to the hands, to the feet, to the spine. Oh, so thank you for doing that practice with me today. I think it's something that we need to do in our community. And so this month we are starting a new theme. Our yearly theme is spirituality in action. And today our theme for the month of August is celebrating and respecting other nations and other people. And our value is gratitude. And I think that's a very timely topic for today. And I think what I would like to do is to bring it closer to home. That what this theme is about is respecting and celebrating all people, from wherever they're from, whoever they are, and celebrating the uniqueness that we have and simply loving people regardless if they look different than us or act different than us or speak different than us or aren't from where we're from. Whatever it is that we're celebrating, we're blessing, what is it, the other, what we might consider the others, that person or those people or that country or that, whatever it is that is different than us. And sometimes that's really hard to do, right? And it can be very hard to do if we are not aware of our connection and our oneness. That mentality of the other, of the fear, is based in a sense of separation. A separation that person is outside of me, not a part of me. It's based in a sense of lack and limitation. Because what happens when we push against somebody, it's because we're fearful. We're fearful that they may take the resources that are available to us, that they may take the job, that they may, there's a sense of lack, that there's not enough. And so therefore we have to bring a sense of control and power and authority so that I can get enough. We're seeing that in our world today. We're seeing that in our country, this rising up of this sense of that other that's going to take from us. So Sharif Abdullah, in his book, Creating a World That Works for All, talks about the three types of people that we have in the world today, three types of communities working. And he talks about the keepers. The keepers are those who keep the original story, the indigenous people who live in harmony with the world, who work to be in harmony with nature and to be connected to nature. These are the indigenous, earth-based peoples that are available to us, and we bless this group of people. There are the breakers. The breakers is the dominant story right now. And this is the story of lack of resources, of needing to be in control, of needing to be in power, of using resources for my gain without any vision of how that's affecting the world or others or out there in the world. This is the dominant story. This is where mass shootings happen. This is where the treatment of people that are not like us is from. This is where white supremacy shows up. This is where systemic racism is. These are the breakers in our society. Sharif Abdullah talks about how the breaker society is created. He says, my feelings of separation and rejection is fed by the emptiness and delusion of separation from others. And so the irony is that very thing that they're pushing against, being connected to others, is what creates this sense of delusion and separation and rejection and fear. And so the third group of people are the menders. This is the emerging story. This is the group of people where I hope all of us here today, all of us listening, are a part of this mender society, that we step up to create and to work and to heal that which is keeping us from feeling separate, that which was keeping us in fear, that's what's keeping us in lack and limitation. And so as I've shared with you before, I always go back sometimes when things like this happen, when I feel so overwhelmed sometimes with what is going on in the world and what is mine to do and how, how does this all, who am I and what I can do? I go back to Joanna Macy's 3 forms of activism. She's a Buddhist scholar and activist, and I always kind of go back to those things of what can we do from those 3 places of activism. So her first form of activism is stopping the damage. And again, these are the people that are on the front lines who are, trying to keep our resources clean, who are trying to save people who are in danger, who are stepping forward and wanting to create, just stopping the damage that is going on in the world. And I bless every day the people that are called to this form of activism, of stopping the damage. And it's true that we all can do this. We all have a part in stopping the damage. We all can we do it in our own lives. I mean, I was reading a blog post by Reverend Dr. Jim Lockhart this morning, and he was talking about the shootings and about the consciousness and about, how do we stop the damage. And he said in that blog post, he said, if an individual were exhibiting the symptoms of the United States, and many are, the first thing one would do is remove or at least limit access to the tools of violence. You might, for example, put the kitchen knives out of reach of a disturbed child or an adolescent or an adult in home. You would not expect that to heal the illness within, but to be a reasonable action to take. There are actions that we can take in our nation to stop the damage and limit the violence. Part of that is through systemic change, which is the second form of activism. This is fighting for changes in laws, voting for different politicians who might have the will to do the work of the people, changing these things. And when it comes to gun violence, there are things that we can do. 80 to 90% of Americans agree with instituting universal background checks. 80 to 90% agree with universal background checks. What is it about our leaders, our political leaders, who are not following through with 80 to 90% of the will of the people of the United States? There are things that we can do. We can ban assault weapons. We can get a universal database for police officers. We can create additional research on gun violence as a public health issue. Do you know that a law was passed many years ago, lobbied by the NRA, that said the federal government is forbidden to research the effects of gun violence in America as a health safety issue? That is the law that was created so that we can't even find out what it is that we need to do in order to create safety in our world, to change and to create. The third form of activism is a change in consciousness. Change in consciousness. Sharif Abdullah says, part of your spiritual starvation lies in being unreconciled to what you are. The breaker consciousness teaches us to be dissatisfied with who and what we are, to aspire to be someone else, anyone else. Llewellyn Vaughan Lee, the Sufi teacher, says, until we go to the root of our image of separateness, there can be no healing. So this is where we shine, to change the consciousness of people in the world, to help people heal that which in them that feels separate and a part of, disconnected from. And as a faith leader, it is my obligation to speak out, to talk from a moral place of faith. And so I must, as a faith leader, speak out and condemn the racist rhetoric coming from the highest office of our land. We must condemn the racist rhetoric that are contributing to the feeding of of the fear and the separation that is creating violence in America. And we must speak out to what that is. You know that when a Muslim commits a crime, when a person of color commits a crime, there is a speaking out of where is their community? What does their religion have to say about this? How are they raising these boys? The majority of violence against Americans today is caused by white nationalism. The CIA director just last week in Congress reported our biggest threat to national security and to the lives of Americans is not Muslims, is not people at the border, not even the Russians. It is white nationalism and supremacy. So where is the community, the white community, the white Christian community? What is their role? What is my role as a white American? It's to speak out. It's to say that we have to heal it. It's to say that we have to not accept it. It's to say that we have work to do. We have to stop it. The education that we're talking about, the things that we're doing around systemic racism and the belief systems that we have that put people of color in jeopardy and in danger, that now are putting people of Hispanic descent is also the man who committed the shooting in El Paso put a manifesto on his blog page that said he was stopping the invasion of immigrants and illegals coming into our country. You know, we are in such a powerful place. We can't not talk about the moral responsibility that we have as a spiritual group, as a faith tradition, as Americans, for me as a white American, to speak out. And it's important for us to share these truths, to share these teachings, to help us come to this new understanding of who we are and to meet a larger segment of the population that it is love that heals, that it is connection and oneness that heals. Many of you, I'm sure, saw the debates and have heard Marianne Williamson speak about this. And have you also heard the comedians and the late night people making fun of that? You know, these basic ideas that we have around oneness and connection and truth and healing from the root cause gets joked about and mocked. It's up to us to speak out. It's up to us to be the example. It's up to us to show up in a way that creates healing and love. How is it that we can reach a larger segment of the world through our spiritual principles? Dr. Jim Lockhart says, which empower one and greatly reduce the likelihood of violence. How do we ourselves further embody those principles so that we face the challenges of this world from a more realized, spiritual realized way of being? And it can't just be prayer. It can't just be thoughts. You know, our founder, Dr. Jonas Holmes, said, one's mind should swing from inspiration to action, from contemplation to accomplishment, from prayer to performance. Dr. Ernest Holmes said that. Charles Fillmore, the founder of Unity, said, so many people pray and pray and pray. They don't get action. Our bodies need to be acted upon. It is not altogether praying, but it is doing. You must do something. Jim Rosemergy, another minister, said, action without prayer Meditation leads to action without prayer and meditation leads to exhaustion, but prayer and meditation without action leads to self-absorption. Spirituality in action takes two parts. It takes the deep spiritual training and teaching and work and practice and showing up and doing our inner work, doing our inner healing, healing our shadow. But it also takes action. It takes speaking up, speaking out, finding what is ours to do, whether it's stopping the damage, whether it's creating new laws and new systems, whether it's holding and expanding the awareness of consciousness. We all have something to do. Our practice is important. It is vital. It is vital. Marianne Woodman said, continuing to do pioneering sacred work in the world, as crazy and painful as ours, without constantly grounding yourself in a sacred practice, would be like running into a forest fire dressed only in a paper tutu. We can't do this work from our head, from force, from a breaker mentality, which is about, I will be stronger than you, and I will force you to do what I know you need to do. It has to come from a place of spiritual power, from within, that brings forth the courage, which brings forth the clarity, which brings forth the movement and the action and the activity that creates a world that works for all. Our theme for this month is gratitude. Our value is gratitude. And I was going to talk, I had a really lovely, lighthearted talk to share today about gratitude and blessings and love. But I needed this talk. I needed this. Like, what do I need to hear today when I wake up to this news, when I see it, and I know that we have to figure out what our spiritual principles have to say and what is it that we can do to change our society, to bring healing and hope and health and love. So the book that we're exploring this month is called The Gentle Art of Blessing. It's by Pierre Prodervand. And it's a beautiful book about blessing, and his story is beautiful. Have time to share the story. I'm just going to share a little bit about his story. So he was working in international development back in the 70s, and he had a great passion for ending world hunger. And he wanted to create an exhibit that went around the world. And he said, as of today, actually, I listened to a talk of his recently. He said 900 million people go to bed hungry every day. 900 million people in our world go to bed hungry every day. And so he wanted to create this roving exhibit to send to schools, and no one would finance it. So he financed it himself. He said he spent about $25,000. And he said the exhibit was really well received. It was called Ending Hunger Today, and it went to schools, and it went all over, and he kind of got involved with the Hunger Project, and he was very excited about doing this work, and he wanted the tagline for the Hunger Project to be Ending Hunger by the year 2000. This was in the late 70s. Ending hunger by the year 2000. And they said, no, we can't say that. They couldn't say, they didn't want to put a timeline on it. They didn't want to say, this was in the 1970s, 20 years. They couldn't say that by the year 2000, they could end hunger. And he was really insistent on that. And because of that, the organization told him that he couldn't speak about that campaign. He couldn't do anything with it, and he actually got pushed out, and he quit his job. And he said he developed a huge resentment to the organization, and a huge resentment to one person who was the catalyst who pushed him out. And he said he woke up every morning obsessed, anger, thinking about this person, and he was kind of a spiritual person anyway, so he meditated, and he prayed, and he read spiritual readings, and still every day he would get up and he would be so angry at this person who created this for him, he thought. And then one day he read the Sermon on the Mount in the Bible, and it said in Matthew 5:44, it says, love your enemies, bless anyone who curses you, do good to anyone who hates you, and pray for those who carry you away by force and persecute you. He said that phrase, bless those who curse you, shifted his attention. And in that moment, he took that person in his mind and he blessed them. He blessed their work, he blessed their relationships, he blessed their abundance. And he said at first it was very heady. Didn't have anything to do. He just was doing a blessing. But eventually it moved down to his heart. And he started feeling this heart energy open up. And he started in sincerity blessing this person. And he said the stress went away, the tension went away, the obsessing went away. And he said, I thought I can do this everywhere. So he started blessing anybody he saw. He said when he'd get on a train, he would start at the beginning of the train and he would bless every single person. He'd walk all the way down the aisle and all the way back, just blessing every single person. And he said it transformed his life. And this is what this book is about sending blessings. And he said, it's not a specific religious practice. It doesn't have anything to do with whether you agree with them or that it's just about, and these are my words, but when I heard him talk, it was about seeing the divine in that person, regardless of how they are acting. And that each person is expressing from the highest and best that they can in that moment. But that doesn't take away that divine potential is within them. He said that he now can bless anybody, and he named a few people. He named Kim Jong-un, and he named Putin. He named Assad, and he named Donald Trump. And he said, I can now sincerely bless these people. Assad, who has committed atrocities to the people in his country. He said, I go beyond and I bless their expression of the highest consciousness. He says, I bless the wisdom and the goodness and the ability to come to new decisions within them, even if it's not showing up yet. This is a spiritual practice that we can do. It doesn't take away the anger or the hurt. It doesn't justify. It doesn't give people a free pass for the things that they might be doing. But it is essential for us in the practice that we do to look beyond those actions to the divine essence within each person. The only way they're ever going to wake up to that themselves is if they have help. And as we see that truth in them, and we act, because we know that there is a divine principle, a law of cause and effect, that if we speak that word, if we see that truth, if we know it to be, it will come back to us. And it comes back through us, through our action, through our clarity. Florence Scovel-Shen says, this is an affirmation that she uses, you can use it too. It says, I now exercise my fearless faith in 3 ways. We have to have fearless faith. We have to know the divine truth of our being and of every other being. You can practice this fearless faith in 3 ways, she says, by thinking, by speaking, and by acting. I am unmoved by appearances, therefore appearances move. Florence Scovel-Shen. I am unmoved by appearances, therefore appearances move. This is our work. This is the deepest thing we have to do. This is what we're here for. To heal what needs to be healed within us so that we can then see the divine truth in others so that they can then heal. And we have to act. And so I want to do a visioning practice with you. It's our spiritual practice today. Visioning is something that Michael Beckwith created, and it's really about opening ourselves up to the divine vision within us around a certain thing. Dr. Ernest Holmes said there's a power in the universe greater than we are, and we can use it. I like to say there's a power in the universe greater than we are, and it can use us. We have to be available to the divine power to move through us for what is ours to do. And so if you choose, I would love for you to do this visioning process with me. You can do it online, and you can also go back and listen and do this process on your own, because you might not have a chance to really gain all the insights from it. But if you'd like to just close your eyes for a moment. Take a nice deep breath in. And And we're going to begin again where we left off at the beginning of our service with just our hands over our heart and creating a memory or an awareness of safety and love. And again, if it's hard for you to feel that, make it up. Our minds are so powerful, it doesn't know the difference. So just how would you feel in this very moment if you were completely safe and loved? And let us just stay in that place for a moment, just creating a vessel, creating a container for this visioning process of expanding into this truth of love and safety. So as we feel enveloped in this truth of safety and love, that our hearts are open, our minds are open, and we just are willing to receive a vision of our life. And the question that we ask ourselves right now is, what is the divine's idea of itself expressing as me with regard to healing gun violence in America, with regard to healing the breaker society? Whatever the issue is, whatever it is, what is God's idea of itself? What is the divine idea of itself expressing through me as a vehicle to heal that which needs to be healed in our society? And as you open yourself up to that question, just allow yourself to feel into that. It may come in words, it may come in sounds, it might become in feeling, it might be not anything, but what you're doing with that question is you're opening yourself up to hear. The universe responds. We ask a question, the universe responds. So just allow yourself to be open to that and know that if nothing solid comes, it's okay. You're going to be open to this in the coming days. You're going to come back to this practice. What is God's idea of itself? What is the divine's idea of itself as me expressing in a mender society, with me expressing in the healing of the breaker society? And so we're just going to keep that vibration of that question. What is God's idea of itself expressing in and through me as a healer, as a mender? And ask yourself this question. Ask this divine idea of, what do I need to become in order for this vision to manifest? What is it that I need to become in order to be fully present, to be available, to be willing, to allow this vision to move through me? And again, no judgment. It might just be a feeling. It doesn't have to be words or a vision. You're just asking the universe this question and knowing that the answer comes in the divine right timing. Right at this very moment, the universal law is lining up the answer to this question. What do I need to become in order for this vision of me as a mender to come forward? Continuing in that energy of what is mine to do, what is mine to be. Call forth within you, what is it that you already have in order to make this vision manifest? We all have so many resources. We get so overwhelmed. We're not sure what little old me can do, but you have resources. The universe knows what they are. So ask yourself, what is it that I already have in order to activate this vision, in order to step forth fully into the expression of this vision? What is it that I already have? Talents, resources, connections. And finally, keeping in this energy of opening ourselves up to that divine wisdom, we must ask, what must I let go of in order for this vision to manifest? What no longer serves? What is it that I need to let go of? What am I willing to release in order to serve this vision? And let us just move into the sense of willingness. A willingness, just asking the question, alerts the universe to your willingness to be of service to this greater good. Let us affirm that willingness now. Whatever has come forward, whatever is mine to do, what is yours to do, there is a divine willingness within to allow it to be manifest in and through you. And so we rest in a place of gratitude. We rest in a place of blessing this truth, blessing the vision, what it is that I am to do, to be, what are my resources, what am I letting go. We just bless this process and give thanks. Give thanks for the ability and the willingness and the place and the time to express and to be this highest expression of who we are. In this moment of time, we are here in this moment of time to speak truth to power, to speak truth to the breaker society, to separation, to disconnection, to fear, to lack. We move forward in fearless faith in what is mine to think and to speak and to act. And so it's from this place of gratitude that we send our love to those who are experiencing the tragedy of this day of losing a loved one in senseless violence, who is still struggling for their lives or are recuperating. We send love. We bring ourselves to a place of blessing and seeing the divine truth in the shooters. We lift ourselves up to blessing, to seeing the truth of our political leaders, that they have the will and the clarity and the power to do what they need to do to keep us safe, that they have within them an opening of compassion and love and clarity so that their words are words of mending, not breaking. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for this ability to speak and to know this truth. I'm grateful for those who are willing to walk this path, to know this truth, to do their own work, to speak the truth, to know it, to be it. It is with gratitude that I release this word into that infinite knowing law that is already working, already at this moment, creating that which will show up in physical form as peace and love and health for our country and for the world. Let us know this together by simply saying, and so it is. So we let it be. And Patty is going to sing for us.
So we're just going to stay in that state of knowingness and awareness and that place of love, and knowing that through love all things come together, all things can change, and that our job is to keep that center of love flowing through us.
is to breathe love in. And I know that something beautiful is waiting to begin. All I need is to breathe love in. All I need is to breathe love in. All I need is to breathe love in. And I know that something beautiful is waiting to begin. All I need is to breathe love in. Breathe love Breathe love in.
Thank you. Perfect. Oh, so breathing in that love, let us say our vision statement together. To awaken our inherent oneness with divine source, our planet, and each other, and then act knowing that oneness matters. So it is. Oh, all right. So this is our time of sharing our gifts. If you're watching us online and you wish to share, we would love to be blessed by your donation. And if you give on a regular basis through our automatic giving, that's also really blessed. And so let us just know that that which we share today blesses each of us in a unique way. It goes out into the world and makes these changes to create a healthier, loving, vital society. And we know that Ark of Loudon is blessed, as are we in this process. And so it is. So let's say our affirmation together. Divine Source blesses all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give thanks that this is so, and so it is. So I think Patty has a new song, or a Thanksgiving song for us.
Well, I'm grateful for the love that you rain down all day. Yes, I'm grateful for the love, blessing. Well, I'm grateful
Let's see. So this afternoon, Daniel Nahman is going to be at a mini retreat in Unity of Fairfax. I think it's at 1:30 and 7 p.m. So if you want to run down to Unity of Fairfax, you can get to experience Daniel Nahman. Larry we are working on our children's program, and Larry has stepped up to be our children's facilitator, and we have flyers over here. So you want to say anything, Larry, or if you guys, people who have children, to spread the word. Where our children's program going to start twice a month.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 25th.
25th.
We have the second and the fourth.
Yeah.
After that.
So spread the word. Got to get our children involved. So, our children's program is starting on August 24th, every other, the 5th, 25th, whatever Sunday is, that last Sunday, and the second and fourth Sunday of the month. And so there's flyers over here, so spread the word and get our children involved with us as well. All right, I think that's it for our announcements. Reverend Sherry is going to be here next week. I'll be traveling for the next 2 weeks, so you'll be in good hands with Reverend Sherry and Charlene. All right, so what pearls do you have today? Elaine?
Okay, I love your passion this morning. Thank you so much. And thank you for the reminder that meditation and prayer is not enough, and that action is needed. I also have been looking at the breakers, trying to understand, and I recently listened to a song by Friction Farm, a song about equality, that when we get to the point where we see each other equal as divine, there's no power struggle. So it's the fear and the power they feel like they need right now. So I'm glad that's all coming together for me, because I'm like so frustrated by all that.
Yeah.
And our effort to do this in a loving and peaceful way, that's just awesome. And I have a soapbox I'll give you to take out in the community.
I don't think I need one. I'm tall enough.
No, we're going to put you up high. But thank you so much.
Yes. Shar and then Larry.
So yes, to echo what Elaine said about, to start with the prayer and getting compassionate and getting in that space. And then your entire talk, especially the story that you told from the book. And then the breathe song, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, wow, really, really good. Do you guys have CDs?
You guys always do it.
Yeah, they changed it up, so I like that. In the moment. They're like, oh, what is she doing? She's changing the thing. Larry.
Yeah, I was impressed by Patty's ability to change, even in the last moment. And I think, as we approach, or as things in the world approach us, we have to be willing to change. We can't use the spiritual tactics of the 1960s and expect, to fix the problems in 20, whatever. I think it was Einstein says, the problems that, or the mindset that we had that created the problem is not going to be the one that will solve the problem. So, it's not that other people don't change, it's that I look in the mirror, I have to change.
Yep.
As the prophet Michael Jackson said, change the guy in the mirror.
Yes.
So,
Which reminds me of I'm reading Mary Williamson's book, The Politics of Love. And it's we the people, we the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Another way to look at it.
we went into the polls and we voted for who we have.
Yep.
And so
That is true.
I was just amazed, when you were saying we won't do background checks on people with guns, but I realized we want to do background checks on people who we think might be in the country illegally. So it's such a misappropriation of assets. And I am from Texas, and I value my Texas, not what it's doing now, along
Thanks, David. Alita?
I mean, listening to you today, I realized the language that I sometimes use and people that I know, and I thought it was a good reminder that it's not about what we're against, but so much as focusing on what we're for and what we want to send our loving energy to, and then the rest will eventually just kind of fall off the map. So I have to remind myself sometimes too not to get caught up in all the negative in the world. Realize it's there, but then change the language so that a lot of positive comes out from that. I think that action in itself is huge. It might just be a thought, but I think that thought process becoming a habit then becomes natural actions of loving and kindness and compassion towards others automatically.
Yeah, my excuse is to give praise. What are they doing right? For all they're doing wrong, is there anything that they're doing right? Like, I have things I can say because I'm third party, so I can criticize either party. I can criticize Trump, I can criticize Obama, I can criticize Bush. At the same time, I can be appreciative as well for any of these people. So, you know, so I can give praise to Bush, I can give praise to Obama, I can give praise to Trump, you know, and I'd rather focus on what I can appreciate
Yeah.
and bring that out first before I say, well, of course, on the other hand, you're doing true, but so far, let's review what you're doing great. You know, gotta lead with the loving part, positive part. Okay, to this man's credit, he's at least doing this right. However, you know, there's some things about his rhetoric that's a concern that he could improve on.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that way it's real more constructive, positive feedback for what he could do, because that's what people want to hear. They want to hear, what am I doing right? What should I keep doing? And because I remember being a substitute teacher, and part of my training as I was reviewing this is try to find 8 positive things for one negative thing you said.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that helps encourage them to do more of what they're already doing right.
Which wolf are you feeding?
Yeah.
Are you feeding that
Mm.
negative
Besides,
wolf, or are we blessed the?
if all you do is give negative, then they'll just get used to the negative to such a point that they don't care anymore. I mean, your negative criticism no longer has meaning. You give 8 positive things for every 1 negative thing, then when you finally do bring out the negative, it'll actually impact them.
Yeah. So thank you,
But
David.
if all you're doing is negative, well then, follow Trump and raise as much as he wants. You think that's going to impact him? You think that's changing? He's immune to it.
So let's move on. You can continue the conversation afterwards. It's deep, deep conversation, but we're going to need to close up our service. Did you have one last thing, Tamara? You had.
Move forward in fearless faith.
Oh yeah, fearless faith. Yes. All right. We're going to sing "Happy, Joyful, Fulfilled." Let's stand.
I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. I'm aware of all my blessings, so much love I can't sit still. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled. Good. I'm happy, I'm joyful, I am fulfilled.
Thank you, Brett and Patty. All right, so close your eyes, place your hands over your heart, and say out loud with meaning, I am love.
I am love.
And open your eyes, look around, say, you are love. You are love. Hands up in the air, it's all love.
All love.
All right, guys. Enjoy your week. Join us for some coffee. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Woo-hoo. Yeah. Let's go skedaddle. Go skedaddle.